If you can't control your mind in the bedroom, you will never control your life in the world. We live in a time where most men are obsessed with domination, money, status, conquest. But when they enter the bedroom, their illusion collapses. The moment demands vulnerability, focus, patience, emotional intelligence. And that's where most men fail. They rush. They act out of insecurity. They treat intimacy like a performance, not a connection. And worse, they think pleasure is the goal, not presence. But here's the truth. A weak man takes. A strong man gives. A great man gives without losing himself. You see, intimacy is not about technique. It's not about ego. It's not about being a beast. It's about being a fortress. Calm, grounded and present. Because the battlefield isn't just out there. In your career, your hustle, your discipline, the real war is inside. In the still moments, in the gaze, in the breath. And if you flinch when it's time to be fully present with a woman, if your mind races, if your ego screams for validation, if you get lost in the noise, you're not in control. Not of her, not of the moment, not of yourself. This is where the strong are separated from the weak. Not in the fight, not in the flex, but in the quiet moment, where your strength is measured by your stillness. This is the lesson every great man must learn, to serve, not as a servant, but as a sovereign. And that, my brother, is where your power begins. Let's talk about how. 1. The discipline of presence. Presence is not just about being in the room. It's about being nowhere else. Most men today are physically there, but mentally scattered. Their thoughts bounce between ego, performance, insecurity, and desire. They're thinking about what comes next. They're wondering if they're doing it right. They're not with her, they're inside their own noise. But the strong man, the grounded man, he's different. He treats presence like a discipline, like a meditation, like war. Just as a Stoic would train his mind to remain calm in the face of death, betrayal, or chaos, a strong man trains his awareness in the most intimate moments. He does not drift. He does not perform. He does not chase the high. He observes. He listens, not just with ears, but with the whole body. He listens to silence, to breath, to energy. His mind is still, not because he's passive, but because he's anchored. Every moment, every shift, every glance, he absorbs it without judgment. Marcus Aurelius said, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man doing his duty." This applies in business, it applies in combat, but it also applies in love. The disciplined man does not rush into physicality without first mastering his internal state, because he knows if he cannot lead himself in the quietest moments, he has no right to lead another soul. Presence is the foundation of power. Not flashy, not loud, not aggressive, but deep, stable, unshakable. When you are fully present, you offer something most women rarely experience in today's rushed, distracted world: safety. And safety is the soil where trust grows, where intimacy deepens, where a woman can finally exhale, not because she's being conquered, but because she's being seen. This is what separates the boy from the man, the performer from the leader, the imitator from the master. Because the man who can hold presence, real, rooted, reverent presence, is the man who walks with calm in chaos, patience in pressure, and clarity in connection. And that, brothers, is a power no one can fake. 2. Power through service. Most men misunderstand power. They think it's about control. Think it's about being the loudest, the strongest, the most impressive in the room. But the wise man, the Stoic man, knows this. True power isn't loud, it's calm. It isn't forceful, it's intentional. And nowhere is this more misunderstood than in intimacy. We've been fed a lie, that to serve a woman, to give, to focus, to be attentive, is a sign of weakness. But listen closely. A weak man serves because he needs validation. A strong man serves because he already has it. Service without strength is slavery. But service with strength, that's leadership, that's kingship, that's purpose in motion. The Stoics taught that the highest good is virtue, acting in alignment with reason, courage, discipline, and justice. So how does that apply here? A man of virtue knows that service isn't about being submissive. It's about being so rooted in yourself that you can give fully without fear of losing yourself. He doesn't serve because she demands it. He serves because it is right. Because in that moment, his purpose is to create safety, depth, trust, not for approval, but from strength. Seneca said, "He who serves best rules best." And this isn't just about the bedroom. It's about how you show up in all relationships. When you hold space for your woman, when you move with care, not haste, when you stay when it's hard, when you pay attention to her without seeking a reward. You're not just showing up as a lover, you're showing up as a warrior in alignment with your code, and that code says, I will not act from fear. I will not seek applause. I will give, not because I must, but because I choose. Service done in this spirit doesn't weaken a man, it forges him, because it requires strength, clarity, and the courage to be fully present. And in a world where so many men be the one who gives, not to be praised, but because it is who you are. 3. Mastery over impulse. A man who cannot control his impulses is not a man, he is a slave. Not to chains, not to other men, but to his own desire. And when desire controls you, you are not leading, you are being led. In the heat of intimacy, this truth is exposed. Because what happens when the body wants to move fast, but the moment calls for stillness? What happens when your mind races, but her heart is asking for patience? That is the moment where discipline is tested. That is the moment where the real man is revealed. The Stoics taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Real strength lies in mastering the self. So what does that mean in intimacy? It means this. You don't rush, you don't perform, you don't move to get, you move to give. You don't let the body dictate the tempo, you set the rhythm through awareness. Impulse says, take, wisdom says, wait, impulse says, go faster. Virtue says, go deeper. And here's the paradox. The more you slow down, the more you become aware, the more powerful the connection becomes, because this isn't about technique, it's about attunement. When you move with restraint, you gain control, and when you gain control, you gain access to a level of intimacy most men will never touch. The weak man is frantic, he's addicted to reaction. But the stoic man, the grounded man, he doesn't react, he responds. He breathes, he feels, he leads the moment not with dominance, but with intention. That's not boring. That's not soft. That's warrior stillness in its purest form. If you can master your body in the fire of passion, you can master your life in the chaos of the world. 4. Build. You were not born to consume. You were born to create, to build, to elevate everything you touch. But most men treat relationships, especially intimate ones, like a product. Something to enjoy, to use, to take from. Then they move on, emptier than before. They chase moments, they collect experiences, but nothing grows, nothing deepens, nothing lasts. Because they didn't build, they consumed. But the man who walks the Stoic path, he thinks differently. He asks himself in every interaction, am I contributing to this woman's peace, or am I just taking from her energy? Am I building her trust or using her attention to fill a void in me? The Stoics warned us, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. The same is true in intimacy. If you view a woman as something to win or use, your mindset will sabotage the entire connection. But if you approach her as a partner in growth, someone to build with, not consume, you elevate both of you. The weak man asks, what can I get? The strong man asks, what can I build? And here's what's dangerous about consumption. It becomes a habit. The more you treat love as a transaction, the more disconnected and hollow you become. Eventually, nothing satisfies. No one is enough. Because your soul isn't starving for pleasure, it's starving for purpose. Purpose lives in construction, in intention, in giving a damn about what you're leaving behind, not just what you're getting right now. So build. Build trust by being consistent. Build desire by being safe. Build passion by being present. Build respect by being immovable in your values. You don't need to be flashy. You don't need to be impressive. You just need to be a man who is willing to build when others only know how to take. Because what you build outlasts what you take. And what you build will shape not just your relationship, but the man you become in the process. 5. Emotional fortitude is foreplay. In a world of emotionally fragile men, the one who can remain calm wins. Not because he manipulates, not because he dominates, but because he becomes the one she can finally exhale around. Let me be blunt. If your mood swings like a child's, if your emotions hijack your presence, you crumble the moment you're challenged, then no matter how alpha you act, you're not a strong man. You're just loud. A strong man is emotionally fortified. He is not numb. He feels deeply, but his feelings do not control him. He does not react, he responds. He doesn't suppress emotion, he governs it. He becomes the calm within the storm. And what does this have to do with intimacy? Everything. You see, foreplay doesn't start in the body, it starts in your energy. Your tone, your ability to remain composed when things don't go as planned, to listen without fixing, to stay open when things get messy. Most men think foreplay is a technique, but for her, safety is the trigger, and emotional safety is created by your emotional mastery. Stoic philosophy teaches this. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. So, ask yourself, are you in control when tension rises? Can you hold space when she's emotional? Can you listen when your ego wants to defend? If you can't, you're not ready to lead her, because you haven't yet learned to lead you. A man who has trained his nervous system, who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't seek validation, who doesn't lash out when he's triggered, is a rare force in today's world. That's the man she remembers. That's the man she trusts. That's the man she opens to, not just physically but fully. So don't just lift weights, lift your standards, lift your capacity to hold space, because if you can't hold your own storms, you'll drown in hers. 6. Lead with integrity, not image. The loudest man in the room is often the most afraid of being seen for who he truly is. So he builds an image, a mask, confident, cool, collected, but beneath it, insecurity, performance, pretense. And when it comes to intimacy, that mask always cracks. Because no matter how smooth you sound, no matter how many lines you deliver, no matter how perfectly you act, she can feel the difference between image and integrity. And so can you. So let me speak plainly, man to man. If you're building your confidence on performance, if you're using tactics to compensate for emptiness, if your strength is just a costume for validation, then it's time to stop playing a role and start living by a code. Stoicism teaches us that integrity is not what you say, it's what you are when no one is watching, when there's no praise, no reward, just you and your principles. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So, what kind of man are you becoming? Do you keep your word when it's hard? Do you tell the truth even when it costs you? Do you lead with patience, presence, and purpose, or with ego? This is what makes a man magnetic. Not looks, not tricks, not games. Integrity is what creates deep trust, and trust is what allows her to open, surrender, and feel safe in your leadership. It's not about being perfect, it's about being honest. About doing the hard work when no one's clapping. About living by a code so deeply that it becomes instinct, even in the heat of intimacy. This is the man she doesn't forget. Not because of what he did, but because of who he is. So strip away the image, burn the script, let the mask fall, and let virtue speak louder than performance ever could. Lead with integrity, because when the moment matters most, your truth is your only real power.